I'd like to welcome Dr. Avraham Gundle. It's a real treat for us to have him here today. He was born in South Africa and raised in South Africa. And he originally qualified in finance and economics in the USA. And after working in business for some years, he realized that his true vocation really lay in health and healing. And he spent years after that independently traveling the world and meeting and getting to know a variety of different cultures and their healing practices. On returning to the UK, he completed training in osteopathic medicine and naturopathy. He's completed the advanced professional training in mind-body medicine through the Center for Mind-Body Medicine based in Washington. And additionally, he received a smicha in Isur Vaheta. He's now the founder and director of the Center of Integrated Medicine in Ramat Bet Shemesh in Israel, and that's where he's talking to us from today. Over the past 30 years in private practice, he's come to specialize in helping people who have chronic and complex medical issues that were not helped by traditional medicine. He's helped many people heal from a diverse range of health conditions like digestive health problems, autoimmune disorders, anxiety, eczema, diabetes, just to name a few. He's developed a groundbreaking online program called 12 Weeks to Heal Your Gut. And his special focus is on gut health, as he believes that that is the root of most illnesses today. So, Dr. Gundle.
Great, Mimi. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share a passion, one of my passions with you all. So I know it's a Monday morning in London, and it's just gone lunchtime here in Eretz Israel. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today doing this. So I'm really happy that you give me this opportunity. So I want to invite you all to relax, have some fun, and see this as an opportunity, an engaging workshop, rather than a share of me speaking to you. This is really an opportunity for you to engage with me, ask questions. If you know how to type in the chat, then I'll be taking questions at the end. So this is a good time to grab a pen and paper, because there's going to be a lot of information coming your way. And many of my patients actually ask me, how did I come to get into this focus of gut health? As Mimi mentioned, I've been in healthcare for over 30 years. And really, it started with my grandmother, who unfortunately had a gut issue, which really saw the end of her. And had she had exposure to the information and ideas that I'm going to share with you today, I really believe that she would have lived a longer and healthier life with less suffering. So that really motivated me to really reach out to anyone who's interested to hear some ideas, a little bit out of the box perhaps, but all very rooted in medicine and research that could really have helped her. My second motivation is we're blessed with 5 beautiful children. One of them is a special needs child who's 20 years old today, and she suffered from a major gut issue. And my research has really helped me. As Mimi said, I traveled quite extensively around the world, meeting different experts and researchers. And these strategies have helped her really advance her health and well-being to the best of my ability. So had she not had these, had I not had access to this information, then she would be struggling a lot more than she is. And then lastly, of course, along with all the wonderful other qualities I inherited from our folks, I've been blessed with a sluggish gut, you can say. And through these strategies that I've used to help my daughter, help my patients, I've been able to help myself as well. And therefore, I've created an online training to really empower people and guide people in a very specific way to get the help they need. So I'm going to share my screen with you. There's some slides coming your way, and I'm going to really invite you just to eat, to drink, to enjoy your morning coffee as we go through today. You can just pretend it's a lazy Sunday if you want, and this is something to keep you mindfully engaged. And I just want to firstly acknowledge each one of you for taking time in to show up today, because there's many things that you could be doing with your time for the next hour or so, and you've chosen to come together as a group of ladies committed to lifelong learning in the pursuit of increasing your health, your well-being, your knowledge, your experience of life at this stage. And I just think it's so beautiful and so admirable, because we grow in community, we heal in community, and it's such a wonderful thing, Mimi, that you are really behind. So let's kick off with some screen share. Let's see. Okay. Mimi, I'm going to ask for your direction. Can you see my screen easily? Oh, yes, you're muted. Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, you gave me a thumbs up. Super. Okay, so we're going to go through this. I'm going to take you on this little journey, and I'm going to invite you to play and get involved. This is not like a sit back intellectual exercise. This is engaging your mind and engaging your body in this process, because research shows that the more of you that you bring into a learning experience, i.e. writing down questions or writing down thoughts or ideas, the more impact it will have on your health and your well-being, and the more you'll be able to integrate what I'm going to be sharing with you. So let me open the slides here for a minute. I've got two screens, so if you see me looking at different screens, you'll forgive me for doing that. Let's just share the big screen. One moment. Let's just do that here. View. Let's get rid of that. And don't want that. Don't want that. View. There we go. Okay. Super duper. Remember, you can see that. You give me a thumbs up. Okay, we're good to go. So the title today is The Importance of Digestive Health as We Age. And you're going to see very quickly how important this topic really is. And even if you don't have a digestive problem, it will become incredibly important to understand and apply what I'm going to share with you today. Now, I have three particular gifts for you just for showing up. I'm going to actually put those in the chat, and you can either, I'll send them out to Mimi as well, and that way you'll be able to have them with you. Let me just put that in the chat as well. There we go. These are links in the chat. I'll be able to put in, I'll put them there later as well. The first is the 6 most important foods for gut health as we age. The second one gift I'm going to give you just for showing up today, because so many of you have showed up, and then there's even more of you who probably haven't showed up. So I want to just call out and acknowledge the fact that you've taken time in for yourself. The second one, I'm going to get to this a little bit later today also, is about osteoporosis prevention and treatment. How do you actually manage osteoporosis from a much more comprehensive way? And then lastly, so many people ask me, what's the best form of exercise for health? So that is another gift I'm going to put you in the chat. So during the workshop, you can just click those links and keep them to the side, and I'll send them to Mimi afterwards as well. So I just want to kick off really with a disclaimer, because what you're going to learn here today is really going to impact your health in a positive way, Bezrat Hashem. So it's so important for you to work closely with a professional, either your doctor or a medical health professional, to help you integrate whatever you're learning here so you can do it in the right way for your unique situation. We're all different. We all have different needs. So I want to just make special mention before we get started that anything you hear today, it's best to integrate it with a healthcare professional. So let's just get some orientation. We are on the 19th of February, 2024, which is not even into the second week or past the second week of February. Most importantly, we are almost into the second week of Adar Aleph, and Purim Cotton is coming up on Thursday night. And I'm always looking for excuses. I'm always looking for opportunities. I'll just stop the share screen for a minute so you can see me as I share this part. I'm always looking for opportunities to begin again. We know that Kodesh Baruch is Mechadesh B'chol Yom Tamid Ma'aseh Bereshis. Hashem is constantly creating the world every day. But if we drill down a little bit, we can understand Hashem is actually not creating the world, recreating the world every day. He's creating the world every single nanosecond, every single moment. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is breathing in Ratzon and goodwill into the world to sustain it and sustain us. All the while we're breathing, our heart's beating, our brain's working. He wants us here. What this means, since He is a Machadesh, we also can take advantage of renewing ourselves in every single moment. What this means on a practical level is, let's say we start something new, a health program, you want to start walking, you want to eat better, you want to go to bed earlier, whatever it is, and we're going to discuss that in a little bit, that we all fall off the wagon. I fall off the wagon many, many times a day, but Adar is all about beginning again now, because the miracle of Purim that we're going to celebrate, so to speak, or pre-celebrate on Purim Cotton on Thursday night, is this incredible miracle where there was a total upheaval, where everything looked totally lost, and as if HaKadosh Baruch Hu just like forsaken Klal Yisrael, chas v'shalom. It took one man, Mordechai Tzaddik, to turn the whole thing around with Esther Amalka, and the whole thing was completely miracleized, if there's such a word, in an instant, which means that no matter how dark and desperate a situation may be, things can turn around in an instant. And so too on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level as well, for us as individuals to take this lesson and understand that no matter what challenges we may be suffering with or struggling from, we can at any moment turn it around to improve it. It may not get 180 degrees turnover, but it can absolutely be turned over and improved. And that's why it's so important to never ever give up on yourself, and to always begin again anew, no matter how many times you've begun again, or no matter how many times you've fallen off and you want to get started. It's like your computer sort of gets a blue screen or freezes. You just hold your finger on that thing, or you restart your phone and it all goes back again. We do that in our mind and in our body as well. So for those of you who don't have a digestive problem, I want to explain to you briefly why focusing on gut issues are so important. The Rambam taught that the root of most issues, most of our health issues, physical and emotional issues, lie in the gut. That's because over 50% of dopamine and over 95% of serotonin is made in the gut. What this means is these are two neurotransmitters that are what I'm going to call our upbeat neurotransmitters. This makes us feel upbeat, buoyant, positive in life. So if the gut and the digestion, the stomach, the digestion, large intestine, small intestine is impaired in any way, it will directly impact your cognitive function. I'm going to share some interesting research with you about that shortly. So whether a person has a digestive problem or not, they have to focus, we all have to focus on this element of our body. Now, I'm going to share with you a slide showing you 6 important reasons why gut health is so important to focus on. Let's look at that now. So this slide talks about the gut everything connection. What this means is these are what's called axes. And axes is a two-way street, two-way communication between your brain and your gut, between your gut and your brain. You can see it as like the M5 highway. It's traffic moving in both directions. So what this means, another analogy is like a mother with a baby in her tummy. everything the mother experiences, her thinking, her feelings, her thoughts, her emotions, the food she eats, the music she hears, will impact that baby real time. So too, everything the baby experiences, a healthy baby or a sick baby, will affect the mother as well. It's two-way traffic. That is exactly how I'd like you to conceive of your digestive system. There's something called the gut-brain axis. That means that everything in your gut will absolutely impact your brain. And this is hardwired through something called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the 12 nerves from the brain, and it goes down from our brain literally through most of our digestive system. So every thought you have, every worry you have, every hope you have, every positive thought or otherwise you have will impact your digestive system, just like it would if there was a baby in your tummy. And every tummy discomfort your person experiences will also affect their brain as well. This is called the gut-brain axis. So it's so important to nurture a healthy gut by nurturing a healthy thinking process and digestive system. I'm going to get into some of those practical things shortly. The second aspect is called the gut immune axis. What a lot of people don't know is that over 85% of our immune system is rooted in your gut. That means how healthy we get through the winter. It's not necessarily did you have your flu jab or not. It's much, much more than just having a flu jab or just taking a little bit of vitamin C or whatever things you do to get you through the winter. It's important also to put your gut on the map, because a healthy gut will impact your immune system. As mentioned, 70 to 80% of your immune system is sitting in the digestive system. Then there's the gut-skin axis, which means that whether a person has a healthy skin or eczema or psoriasis or dermatitis or some sort, dandruff or acne, whatever it happens to be, is also rooted in having a healthy gut. So it's very, very important to nurture your digestive system in order to have healthy skin as well. Then there's something called the gut metabolism axis. This is to do with our weight management. So having a healthy gut is imperative to get the weight sorted, whether one is underweight or the one wants to balance the weight. Either way, it's not only about exercise and dieting, but it's also about supporting your digestive system. All this that I'm sharing with you is research-based information about how taking a deeper dive into your gut will support all these parts of your life. Then there's the gut-sleep axis. I'm working with a lot of patients right now, some with Alzheimer's, some with early dementia, some with Parkinson's, and everybody's struggling with sleep issues. They can't get to sleep, or they wake up multiple times through the night for a number of reasons. And one of the avenues that I explore with them to get them some help is to make sure the gut is well tuned, because the digestive system is very, very important to ensure a deep restorative sleep. And one of the things I mentioned to just a patient this week was I call the 4-3-2-1 rule. What that means is it's best not to eat a main meal 4 hours before going to bed. And if you can't manage 4, then 3. If you can't manage 3, then 2 hours. At least 1 hour before bed, it's best not to have a big meal. Because if you're trying to go to sleep, your body wants to turn off. Your digestive system wants to turn off. But you are introducing a competitive element where the brain wants to shut down, but the digestive system wants to digest. So it's not going to digest efficiently, nor will the brain shut down. So the net effect is poor quality sleep. So I call that the 4-3-2-1 rule. Everything considered, it's a good strategy to time your meal to end sometime well before you go to sleep. And then lastly, there's what I call the gut hormone axis. Very important for osteoporosis prevention and treatment is to make sure the hormones are balanced. It's not so simple just to take some extra calcium or extra vitamin D. It's much more complex than that. And a lot of that hormone regulation is rooted in the gut. Okay, so If you have any questions about this section, either write them down or put them in the chat. And then when we get through towards the end, I'm going to take your questions. This is a good opportunity to practice the gut-brain axis strategy. So I'm going to invite you to sit up in your chairs, please. And I see most of you, none of you are driving. So if you want, you can keep your eyes open to peek. But if you want to close your eyes, this is good. I just invite you just to close your eyes for a minute. Take a nice, deep, cleansing breath in. Breathe in through your nose as deep as you can. And as you breathe out, just drop your shoulders down. Feel your back against the back of the chair. Your seat comfortably on the chair and your feet resting on the floor. Once again, a gentle breath in. This time as you breathe out, soften your face, unhinge your jaw, soften your belly. And once more, gentle breath in, breathing as deep as you can. And as you breathe out, relax your face, your body, and your mind. Very good. Then you can open your eyes and come back to the Zoom room. Now, if you could just take a moment just to write in the chat if you can, or write down for me, for yourself. When you stopped for a minute and you took simply 3 slow, mindful breaths in, what did you notice? What happened to your body? What happened to your mind? Did something shift? Did something change? Do you want to type in the chat or write down for yourself? Just let me know. This is the audience participation section. What do you notice when you just stop and breathe slowly? Mimi has asked in the chat, please can you explain what exactly the gut is? Great question. She's also written a sense of calm. Thank you. Yes, a sense of calm. Very good. And the gut is the entire digestive system, Mimi. Thank you for your question. It includes, let's go back one step. Where does digestion actually begin? Digestion actually begins not in your stomach, but in your mind. If you were to think of your most delicious food for a moment, whatever that would be, a lemon meringue pie or a delicious whatever, a croissant, whatever your favorite food, you may find yourself salivating. And you see, your brain stimulates the digestive process. So really digestion starts when you start to think about your food. And then it goes from your throat, from your tongue to your throat, all the way down your esophagus, down into your stomach, your large intestine, your small intestine, your liver, your gallbladder, your spleen, your pancreas. All those organs, if you put your hand on your belly button, you'll put your whole hand on your abdomen, that whole area underneath there is what I'm loosely terming your gut, your entire digestive system. So, someone else has written in slow down and relaxation of the whole body. Yes, very good. And it took less than 30 seconds. Since I see you all pros, I want to invite you to do something, a visualization process, which I'm going to build onto towards the end of this workshop. Now, some of you, if you've never visualized before, but you've had a dream, you can do this. Or if you even know someone who's had a dream, you can also do this. So, as I said, we are in Adar Aleph. Adar Aleph is the beginning of the whole trajectory of the year. We're starting with Adar, we go through Purim, we go through Pesach, then we go to Yom Noraim, Shavuot, Yom Noraim, the whole journey. So I want you to imagine for a moment that you, at the beginning of the year, so if you could just close your eyes for one moment, take a nice deep breath in. If you want to do this with your eyes open, you can. We're just able to see visually inside our mind, and our minds are easier with our eyes closed. So close your eyes for a moment if you're comfortable. Take a nice deep breath in again. This time as you breathe out, relax your body a little bit more. I want you to imagine yourself at the end of the year, December 2024, in your ideal health state, with whatever health challenges you have right now fully solved, fully resolved. Imagine for a moment, if you can just dream for a moment, you're feeling strong and healthy, you're standing upright and erect, whatever health challenges you have fallen to the wayside, your brain is working clear, your memory is sharp, your energy is good, your body's feeling supple and strong, your digestive health is robust, everything about you is radiant. Get a sense or an image, if you can see yourself even in nature, standing or being in the most beautiful place with great health, so you can do whatever you're supposed to do in life in the best way, be it spending time with a spouse, with the children, with grandchildren, great-grandchildren, having energy to play on the floor and get up off the floor. Just get a sense or knowing an image of you in your ideal, radiant place. And then taking a moment just to form a small tefillah, asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make your dream, your image, a reality for you and for all those with us today. Ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to help you become this person. Just to have a sense or knowing of who you can be, so you can have the strength and vitality and age sagely to do and be everything that you want to do and be in the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then taking a deep breath in again, bringing yourself back to the 19th of Feb 2024, integrating that image or sense or knowing into your heart, into your mind, into this Zoom space right here, right now. It's Monday morning, 11:30. Open your eyes, a little stretch out. And just go ahead, just share in the chat. Yes, very good, Mimi. Share in the chat just what came up for you. Did you have a sense? Did you have an image? What one word or one phrase encapsulates your ideal self that you want to create health in body, mind, and soul by the end of the year? I'm going to come back to this. So go ahead. If you just have a sense or knowing, it doesn't have to be a full image, and you'll see why this is important. Can you go ahead, just type in the chat? Did you notice anything? Do you have an image? Do you have a thought of how you'd like to be? Because if you can conceive it in your mind, it's already a possibility. Mimi's written vitality. Thank you, Mimi. So go ahead and type that in the chat. So as we journey towards making this image or a sense of this image a reality, I want to introduce you to a new paradigm of healing. And this is very, very important to understand a bigger picture of how you can take care of your whole health in a very, very practical way. So this is called a new paradigm for healing. And I want to introduce you to, or help you deepen in your understanding, for those of you who haven't heard of functional medicine. Just imagine that you have a pot plant at home. I see Mimi behind you. You've got this little, I don't know if it's a wandering Jew. I can't really see what it is, but it's a beautiful pot plant. Now, let's say someone has a pot plant at home, like this little pot plant here, and the leaves are beginning to wither. Now, you can come along and prune off the withered leaves, or if you have a green thumb and you understand anything about pot plants, you would trace that leaf through the stem, through the trunk, and down into the roots of your plant. And you'll say, hey, is it getting not enough sunlight? Is it maybe too much in the sun? Maybe there's too much hydration, not enough water, too little water. Maybe there's not enough minerals in the soil. Maybe the acid-base balance of the plant is not good, and that's why it's withering. So functional medicine is a very, very integrated way of understanding healthcare. Functional medicine is a model of individualized, patient-centered, science-backed approach, which empowers patients and doctors to work together to address the root cause of illness. I always say to my patients, this is about a team approach. Does anyone know what TEAM stands for? TEAM is an acronym. TEAM stands for together, everybody achieves more. So if this is the approach to healthcare, you've got to be working with a doctor, with a nurse, with healthcare practitioners, whoever they may be, fitness trainers, where you can begin to embrace a number of professionals to advance your health and well-being. And if something's not working, don't necessarily just reach for a patch. Here in Israel, if there's a leak in the roof, it's been raining the last couple of days, Baruch Hashem, and if there's a leak in the roof, the Israeli contractors have a very quick solution. It's called Spachtel. It's basically this like white paint. You just paint on the roof, and they say, yeah, beseder, everything's going to be fine. And well, what happens if, you've got Mr. Cohen in the neighbor upstairs who keeps forgetting to turn his bath off, and it overflows onto your ceiling, the neighbor below, and it keeps leaking into your roof? Well, that little whiteout trick is not really going to work. You've got to go to the root of the issue, and always be asking yourself and prompting your doctor to ask, what is the root cause of this issue, whatever it happens to be? And this model of medicine is a new emerging model that empowers everybody, the patients and doctors, to work together as a team to really get to the root cause of what's going on. And in my vision of the world, a big chunk of the root cause lies in the gut, at least on a physical level. So in order to really take advantage of this new model, we have to step back a minute and put yourself in the center of the healthcare dynamic. What this means is self-care is the heart of healthcare. And I've got this little emoji I've made. It's a little heart that I show my patients that you are number one. You come first. You know that airplane analogy, the lady sitting on the airplane with a little baby, and there's a drop in air pressure. The air hostess says, put the oxygen on the baby first. Well, you could think that's very selfish, but it's not, because if the mother doesn't put her oxygen on herself first, both her and the baby will die. They will not say put it on the baby first. They'll say put it on the mother first. So this is your invitation to put your self-care on the map. Now, what I mean by that, I don't only mean about getting a facial or a manicure or a pedicure or whatever it happens to be. That's wonderful. I'm talking about significant lifestyle choices. What do you have for breakfast? What do you have for lunch? What do you have for supper? What do you think? Does your mind going to worry most of the time, or is your mind going to positivity and hopefulness a lot of the time? This also impacts your nervous system. Are you living in an anxiety-ridden headspace or a hopeful, Yeshua Hashem Ke'eref Ayin headspace? Both are possible. In fact, research came out just recently that the neuronal signals in the brain for anxiety and for optimism are the same, coming from the same place in the brain. So a person can either spin something in a positive direction and feel hopeful, or spin something in a negative direction and feel anxious and overwhelmed. It's really a matter of training your perspective. So self-care is a very, very, very important part of taking your health to the next level. So the important piece here is that you are 100% responsible for your health. Just imagine if a little child was running into the road, into a busy road, Golders Green Road, let's say, the mother will absolutely yank that kid back, because this child is, the mother is 100% responsible for the health of this child. So too, we are that child, so to speak. And we are not handing out over our health and well-being to our professionals and doctors. We are co-opting them to be a great resource in helping us get to the root cause of what's going on. In the traditional medicine model, as fantastic and life-saving as it is, with imaging and diagnostics and life-saving strategies, surgery, it's fantastic. But when it comes to treating chronic problems, When there's total failure, they say, you know, why don't you just, you know, take it easy, manage your stress, things like that. I'm turning this whole model the other way around. Put yourself on that map. Make healthy lifestyle choices. Make smart food choices. Saying no to those foods that will inflame your body, cause arthritis, premature aging, cognitive decline, and say yes to smart food choices. More fruits, more veggies, more whole grains, less cake, sweets, and chocolates and processed foods. All these things will add value to your health and well-being over the long term. Then making sure that you're taking an important food supplement, vitamins, minerals, etc., to nourish the soil, nourish the body. And then if needed, then to fall back on medication, surgery, or other interventions as necessary. But the important piece here is that we each are 100% responsible for our health. Now, I'll just share a story with you quickly, a true story about my father. He should be well. He's 87 years old, 88 actually. This February the 6th, he turned 88. And he's still going to the office. He lives in London. And about a year ago, he's walking to the office, and he tripped on the pavement. It was up like that, and he fell flat onto his face. Baruch Hashem, he had his hands out there. He caught himself just in time as the pavement gently touched his nose. He stood up, brushed himself off, and continued his journey to the office. What saved his life is a lifestyle choice, and I'm going to go into this shortly, called exercise. For a number of years, I've been encouraging him to have a personal trainer. He has a personal trainer 3 to 4 times a week come to his home and train with him. He can do 35 push-ups on the floor at the age of 88. And it's these push-ups that saved his life. He fell on his face. Instead of crushing his nose, his teeth, chas v'shalom, a brain contusion or whatever, or broken wrists, he caught his full body weight. No broken wrists, no broken bones. He stood up, had a grateful heart, said thank you to the Almighty for this tremendous miracle, and walked on to work. This is a possibility for every single one of us, every single one of you, and to not become more fragile as we age. I have a patient, actually I'll save the story when I talk about exercise, but this is a lifestyle choice that I mentioned here in the slides, that exercise is a very, very important part of a lifestyle choice, as I mentioned here right in the beginning. There's self-care and healthy lifestyle choices. So let's go on to the next topic. But just before we do that, I want to transition. So I'm going to invite you all. This is the audience participation section. Let's sit up in our chairs. Research shows that if you just have too much information coming your way without an opportunity to integrate it, then you become smart in your head, but not smart in your heart. And the work we're doing is about integrating head knowledge to heart knowledge. We have to integrate all our knowledge into our heart and into our action. One of my teachers always says, you know, Avraham, if you're not doing it, you don't know it. So it's very important, whatever you're going to learn today, that if it rings a bell and you'd like to integrate it, speak to your doctor and find smart ways to integrate it. So sitting up in your chairs, taking a nice deep breath in through your nose. As you breathe out, relax your chest, relax your stomach, push your shoulders down. I see Ruthie is driving, so Ruthie, focus on the road, please. Okay, that's the most important thing. That's right. Thank you for joining us as you pick up the kids or something, whatever it happens to be. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And breathing out. Just 2 or 3 deep breaths like that activate the gut-brain axis. It brings more oxygen to your brain, increases your concentration, your memory, cognitive health, and relaxes your gut and helps to integrate some of this information. Let's all go on to the next slide. The next slide is I want to introduce you to the 4 E's to great gut health. That's a play on words for those of you who missed it. 4 E's. You want to ease things up, ladies. You want to make things easier. And my job is to make things easier. So here are the 4 easy ways to make things easier. First step, and I mentioned that before, E for exercise. Here is your invitation. If you are not exercising, please use this as an opportunity to start a modest movement program. Something online, something with a friend, Pilates, yoga, stretching, walking. There's no right or wrong exercise. I will share in the chat again for you my best form of exercise. I do it every day for at least an hour. And this way you'll be able to take your health to the next level. I told you the story how exercise literally saved my father's life. I have a 90-year-old patient. She's seeing me every couple of weeks, and I invited her to bring a trainer into her life. She said to me, Avraham, please tell me what is the next best thing I can do for my health? I said, great question. Let's get you a trainer. I found a trainer who works with her age group. He comes over to her house twice a week. Actually, I think she's even stepped it up to 3 times a week. And he is working with her to maintain her brain health, her strength, her flexibility, her coordination, the age of 90. You know, big kudos to this lady. She's actually from the UK. She's now living in Israel. And it's never too late to change. We are only limited by what we think we can do or what we think we cannot do. So that's the first E, E for exercise. In fact, there was some very, very interesting research showing that just walking 15 to 20 minutes a day can increase one's life expectancy to up to 15 years. That's significant. A small input of just walking 15 to 20 minutes a day can add such significant value to your life. And in the chat, I put that video for you to have a look at. So I have another patient of mine who I introduced her to rebounding. It's something I'll talk about in my osteoporosis prevention and treatment program. Rebounding is gentle trampolining. NASA USA space program uses rebounding to help build astronauts' bone health after they come back from the space station or they came from outer space explorations, because there's no gravity up there. So they use rebounding, gentle trampolining to build healthy bone. So this is very, very important. Any form of exercise is good. Start slow, start small. Rule number 1, cause no harm to yourself. Get a trainer, get a professional, and always work with them. Let's look at the next E. The next E is eliminate. So as we age, for a number of reasons, our digestive process tends to slow down. What this means is it takes more time for food to move through the digestive tract. This results in constipation. Having daily BMs is essential for gut health and brain health. Remember the gut-brain connection, the gut-brain axis. If your gut is healthy, your likelihood of your brain is healthy. In fact, there's some very, very interesting research by the Alzheimer's Association that they define chronic constipation as not having a BM in 3 days. And they also described that chronic constipation, if you don't have a BM 3 days or more, over time can cause up to 3 years of premature aging. 3 years of premature aging if the bowels are not moving properly. Think about a baby. A baby has a bottle 6 times. A baby moves the bowels about 3 to 6 times a day. And as we go through life, things tend to get out of sync. And certainly with aging, they definitely do. So it's very important to find healthy, positive ways to make sure we're getting proper BMs, because that protects the brain, cognitive health as well. So E stands for eliminate. That means physical elimination. E also stands for eliminate bad things in your diet, meaning a lot of processed foods, specifically too much white flour, too much dairy products, too much cake, sweets, and chocolates. I'm not saying those things are out. I'm not saying that at all. Hold on, because I have a teaching around that shortly. But it's about finding the right balance. Or too much dairy products can also slow down the bowels. lots of mayonnaise or canola oil or soy oil. These things also disrupt the bowels and then can affect all those various gut axes, as I discussed in the beginning. So we want to begin to take responsibility for our health, saying no more to the bad stuff and saying yes more to the good foods. And then the last E for eliminate also stands for eliminating poor lifestyle habits, meaning too many late nights or too much engaging your mind in things that are not necessarily so positive or wholesome, or whatever that happens to be. Any lifestyle habits that are getting in your way, begin to say no more and say yes to life-affirming activities. And then the third E stands for eat. Eat gut-loving foods. I'm sure everybody, or most of you, heard of prebiotics or probiotics. Well, there's prebiotics, there's probiotics, and there's even something called postbiotics. And prebiotics are foods that are high in good quality fibers that help to feed the gut bacteria called the microbiome in your gut. So my favorite forms of these fibers are chia seeds, hemp seeds, and flax seeds. In fact, I'll just share a story with you. My wife is a family therapist, and on one of my webinars she attended, I spoke about the importance of these prebiotic fibers in gut and brain health. She has a patient who is maxed out on her anti-anxiety and antidepressant medications, couldn't go up because of the side effects. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the class, that over 50% of dopamine and over 95% of serotonin, these are two very, very important neurotransmitters that help our mood be stable, are made in the gut and not made in the brain. In fact, one of the antidepressants are called SSRIs, which stand for serotonin reuptake inhibitors. What that means is, in English, it makes more serotonin available in your brain. So if you can stimulate serotonin through your gut, then it will calm your mood, your concentration, your focus, improve your sleep and your motivation. So my wife heard this class I gave, and one of the ways to improve your gut function is increasing the prebiotic fibers, which is chia seeds, flax seeds, and hemp seeds. You can get that in Holland and Barrett. You grind it up, and you put a tablespoon or two twice a day on your soups or your salads, or mix it into a drink. And that provides a substrate, a food for your gut bacteria called your microbiome to eat. So my wife said, hey, well, I can't, what else can I do with this client? Let's do an experiment. It's certainly not going to harm her anyway. So she had her client get these forms of fiber added to her diet. And literally 3 days later, her mood bounced back. She was out of anxiety spell. She was not feeling depressed anymore, still on a medication that hadn't changed, but it was working more effectively. So what I'm sharing with you is working in the trenches. It's actually helping people, and eating gut-friendly foods is so important. And in a way, I'm envious of all of you. In a small way, I'm in Eretz Yisrael, you're in London, but you have round the corner from you, you've got K's, you've got Kosher Kingdom, you've got Tesco's, and in these places, you've got Holland and Barrett. In these places, K's has a lovely frozen section, so does Kosher Kingdom, where you can get these frozen packet of Chinese stir fry, you can get these vegetables, you get these horse chestnuts, you get all these, you get artichoke hearts. Also, for those of you, I've got a lovely recipe for artichoke hearts. The gut loves diversity. So by having different kinds of foods, you create a different kind of microbiome. The microbiome is all the gut bacteria. And by eating different foods, that's why a staple diet is not so good for the gut necessarily, because you have different bacteria, and different bacteria do different things. So you can just walk into any of these stores and you can just buy a new vegetable that you haven't had. And the best pharmacy is the vegetable store. You know, if there's a plant that looks weird and you can't pronounce the name, buy that one. I know you're in England and you're in London and things are very much, you know, conservative. What can I say? But at the end of the day, God has given us all these lovely veggies. Go, if you haven't had you know, whatever it is, a nice vegetable on an artichoke heart or asparagus, cut the tops off, check them, clean them. If you haven't had those, just include a new veg once a week, once a month, once a year, whatever it happens to be, bring it into your life. That way you get to experiment, keep your brain fresh, keep your gut fresh. Let's move on. The next E stands for enjoy. Let me share the screen with you. So the most important part of this whole journey is Simba Sachaim. We've got to enjoy what we're doing. And there's a wonderful concept I call zigzag. Zig means when you are doing the right thing, eating well, thinking well, lifestyle habits, self-care is on the map. Here's the self-care little emoji. Self-care is on the map. You're doing all things right. And a simcha comes, Shabbos, Yontov, a bar mitzvah, a wedding, whatever happens to be, you can let your hair down for that 10, 15%. And you can do it and have your fun foods, have the cakes, the sweets, the chocolates in moderation in that place, because 85% you are zigging. Zigging is when you're on track, you're doing the right thing. Zagging is when you just let your hair down a little bit and enjoy wonderful foods with friends, with families, without feeling guilty. There's no guilt. There's no place for guilt whatsoever in mental health. And you can enjoy your foods very, very much. Obviously, the more unhealthy a person is, the more ill a person is, the more zigging they must be doing. In other words, instead of 85%, maybe they need to ramp up their zigging to 95% or 99%. But it's not forever. It's only for an interim period until the body is able to heal. Then you can broaden the envelope and bring in some more zagging so you can be at your best. Okay, we're coming towards the end, ladies. And one of the most important things I mentioned to you, excuse me one moment. L'chaim. This is holy water from Eretz Yisrael. So one of the most important things, it's raining outside. It reminded me, I need to hydrate. Here I am thinking about the 4 E's. I've got to be walking my talk and keeping hydrated. Okay. So one of the most important things is, as mentioned, the gut slows down as we age. That means the transition of food through the gut slows. But 2 other things happen as well that are important to mention. One is the ability to digest protein is slowed down. What this means is it becomes harder, even though you may be eating fish, chicken, meat, eggs, fish, etc., to get the protein. You may be eating it, but maybe it's not making its way into your bloodstream because the gut is inefficient at doing its job. It just happens with age. That means that's because there's a reduction in HCl, hydrochloric acid, which is one of the most important, which is an acid that breaks down protein. Also, B12 production is impaired. Vitamin B12 is important for nerve system function. Calcium absorption assimilation also drops as we age. So it's very, very important as you're thinking about the 4 E's and eating for gut health and bringing in prebiotic and probiotic foods, etc., that you have to become curious about how much are you actually absorbing into your body. It's not guaranteed that if you're eating the food, it's going into your bloodstream and making its way into your body tissues. It doesn't work like that. If you can't absorb it, it's almost like, imagine a pipe. If water's flowing through, but now there's a blockage in the pipe, you may be pouring water in, but it's not flowing through. So that's pretty much like we're putting nutrients in our body, but it's not getting absorbed into our bloodstream because there's a gut problem. So there's a very simple test that I do with my patients in my clinic. We're able to test what absorption is happening and how to go about fixing it. So this test is called a hair mineral analysis. Hair from the head, we take a sample of hair from your head and we send it off to a special lab. Let me show you what that looks like. So this test is called a hair mineral analysis, and you can uncover different deficiencies in your body. By knowing that information, you can increase absorption in your gut. You can peak your brain health and help with anti-aging, because you can know what vitamins and minerals are needed to support your brain, your memory, your bone health, your gut health. And obviously through that, you can have strong, healthier bones. You'll know what information, what vitamins and minerals your body is missing. Let me show you a chart. This is a chart of what a hair mineral analysis result looks like. I get this chart back from the lab, and at the bottom here, you have the minerals in the body: calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, copper, zinc, iron, magnesium, chromium, and the B here stands for boron. Boron is a mineral that's absolutely essential for bone health. And you'll see this patient has nothing in here. So they could be taking all the calcium in the world or all the Fosamax in the world to help build a healthy bone. But if the body's missing a mineral, it's like you're trying to get into your front door and you've got a key, your bunch of keys, but your front door key's not there. You're not going to get into your front door. You're going to have to go over to your neighbor, get a spare key, go through the back door. You're going to have to make a plan B. So I do this hair mineral analysis. It's an easy test to do where I get full transparency of what is going on in my patient's body and how it can support the healing. And then obviously there's toxic elements here like lead and mercury and cadmium. These toxic elements accumulate in the body from the environment, and they block enzyme pathways in the body. What this means is it blocks the body from absorbing minerals. So even though you're eating them, you will not be absorbing them if there's a competitor. It's almost like you come to park your car in your parking place, and a dear friend has parked their car in your parking place. You can't get in. That's what happens when these toxic elements sit in a parking place in your body. The healthy minerals can't get there because someone else is there. We have to oust them and then bring in the healthy minerals. So this test is a test that anybody can do to help advance your gut health and your brain health and everything about you. So a lot of information is coming your way. We're almost done. I'm going to ask you once again, this is a gut health breathing break. Sitting back in your chairs, everybody. Take a nice deep breath in. Breathing out, relax your body, relax your shoulders. This is the audience participation section, folks. Breathing in again. And as you breathe out, relax your shoulders, relax your belly, bring more oxygen to the brain. Now, we're coming to the end of this talk. I want to introduce you to something called the 1% rule. The 1% rule is an invitation to begin to bring wholesome change into your life. Here's a slide I created with a little person almost a third across the bridge. That represents all of you here. The fact that you are here today, you've already begun your health journey. You're not before the bridge, you've already on your way. And on the left side is where you are now. On the right side is where you want to be. I asked you earlier on to get a visualization, get a sense of how do you want to be in body, mind, and soul, December 2024. How do you want to be? What changes do you want to make? I'd like to invite each of you now to write down, type it out, write it out, one thing. It's 1%, meaning you do not have to revamp your entire lifestyle. It's like you're doing Pesach cleaning. You're not going to clean Erev Pesach your entire home. Some people start in Jan, some start in Purim time, some start whenever they start, but it's incremental changes, incremental cleaning outs. So I'd like to invite each of you right now, and I'm going to ask you to share in the chat, one thing that you're considering bringing into your life from what you've learned today. Go ahead, write it down, because when research shows that when you write down what you want to accomplish, you are 45% more likely to achieve it. Just by writing it down, that's because it engages your brain in a different way. Now, if you want to be ultra successful and ramp it up to 95%, you can share that with others. Have an accountability partner. That's why we have chavrusas, to keep us accountable to one another in our learning, in our ruchnius, in our growth. So if you have a friend, or even in this group, Mimi, you can have an accountability group. You can send one another a text, a WhatsApp, an email. When you meet, you can say, what you're working on, what am I working on, and encourage and support one another. As I mentioned in the beginning, we grow and heal in community. So go ahead. Mimi, I'm going to challenge you because it's your fault. We're all here today. What are you thinking of bringing into your life from today? Go ahead, Mimi. What one thing would you be interested in doing? Maybe you want to drink more water. Maybe you want to walk a little bit more. Maybe
I'm already on the Zoe program. So what I'd like to do, I think the breathing, I keep forgetting to do the deep breathing, and I need to be calmer.
Okay, super duper. So write that down, and I'm going to help you with that. Hold that, turn that into a question in the Q&A, because I got a tip to help you doing that. So write that down, how to incorporate breathing into your life in an easy way. So for those of you who haven't yet written that down, please do so, or at least bring it to mind. What one thing do you want to improve from what you've learned today? And here's the question for you. What's one simple and easy step you can take now to ensure by the end of 2024, when you look back, you'll feel like this year was a dream come true in terms of your digestive health and your overall well-being? This is not an intellectual question. This is a question that requires an answer. So I'm going to challenge you to actually answer this question for yourself. This is the 1% rule. What one thing would you like to bring into your life that will advance your health and well-being? Because December 2024 is coming, whether you like it or not. The question is, are you going to be the same as you are today, or are you going to be a new and improved version of yourself by December 2020? The decision is yours. It's about taking responsibility for your healthcare. So I invite you, if you want to think about this question, you can just take a screenshot of this. But the idea here is to answer the question, think about one thing that you would like to bring into your life as a result of what you're learning here today. Now, just before we end, I want to just debunk a myth, if I may. As some of you are thinking about bringing something into your life, Mimi, you shared about you want to bring in some breathing. That's fantastic. Some of you, you may want to walk more often. That's great. You're sharing that in the chat. I want to just debunk a myth about how progress actually really works. Because whenever you embark upon something new, we are going to get derailed. That's just the nature of the terrain. So have a look at this slide. On the left side, we have how people think it works. This slide is called The Truth About Progress. People think that once you make a start with something, it's a nice linear upward trajectory of health and healing. And this applies to ruchnius, this applies to gashmius. Whenever you want to learn something new or apply something new to advance your health and well-being, there are forces in the world that do not want the new you to emerge. Knowing that is helpful. And that is why I produced this slide on the right, how it actually works. You start with a dream, with a vision like we did at the beginning of today's webinar, and then you make some significant progress. So you start your breathing, you start your walking, and then you get derailed. There's a simcha, there's a Shabbos experience. You heard chas v'shalom, something happened, and then you get knocked off, and then a person doesn't feel well, and then they get knocked off again, and they become hopeless, and they give up. Well, if you just hold a little bit of resolve, I remember I said at the beginning, Purim Cotton is about his chachus, about starting again new, about rebooting again new. Then you stay on course, and then you pull yourself together, you speak to a friend, you get accountability, and you get in touch with Mimi for another webinar to keep you on track, and you make your way up. And then over time, your trajectory is upward, but the micro journey has been filled with trial and tribulation. But because we are tenacious and we stay in the game and we focused on our why are you doing this? So you can be at your best for everything in your life that's important to you, to be able to get on the floor with your children and grandchildren and get up off the floor, to do all those things that you still want to do. When you lose your why, you lose your way. So it's very important to have your why clear in your mind. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because the course will be difficult. So I didn't want to really burst your bubble, but I did want to be really practical and empower you to know that when you get knocked off course, celebrate that as being a human moment and get back up on track, because I'm constantly getting knocked off course. As I said, we live with a beautiful special needs child, and it's a roller coaster. I'm living in Eretz Israel, and we're living in extremely, extremely troubled times. I don't have to tell you that. And it's so easy to get pulled down, pulled off course, but to remember that there's a why, there's a mission, and to stay upbeat and positive and focused is so, so important for everybody else who you touch in your life. So before I end with Q&A, I want to offer you a gift. For those of you who have a smartphone and you want to take this QRC code, you can just scan your phone of this. And I want to say thank you. This is a gift to all of you for showing up today. You can just scan this barcode. Then your Google will open up, and then you click that and it will take you to a login page. You'll be able to get my download of the best exercises to do. You'll get a download of a video on osteoporosis prevention and treatment, and my calcium-rich smoothie recipe. And actually originally put that in the chat, and we can put that in the chat again. So for all those of you who just joined, I'll just put a link in the chat. Just grab the whole link and paste it somewhere, or I'll send it to Mimi again and she can send it out. And this is my gift to you, to say thank you for showing up for yourself so that you can be and do and become the best version of yourselves. Thank you very much. Okay, Mimi. So I'd like to open, with your permission, let me just before I end the Q&A, just to say, Mimi, thank you again for inviting me to share a passion of mine with the GGBH group, Monday morning coffee group. I actually didn't see any of you drinking coffee, Mimi. So you either change the name or you bring down coffee to everybody. You got your mug. Is that the same one you've been nursing from the beginning? Or is it a different one? Someone else has got their coffee. Okay, good. Okay, keep the name, Mimi. Okay, so this is an opportunity just to ask questions relating to the webinar that I hope to clarify. So the easiest way for me to moderate this is either raise your physical hand, or if you are Zoom savvy, in the bottom on your tools, you've got something called reactions. Click reactions and you've got something that says raise hand. That will make your presence more visible. But otherwise, just raise your hand and say your name, where do you live, and ask your question. Okay, so Annabella's raised her hand. I'm going to unmute you. Annabella, let's just see, you're going to have to unmute yourself. Mimi, is everybody open to speak?
Can Annabella unmute herself?
Yeah, let's have
be able to do it herself.
Okay, one moment, unmute. Yeah,
I didn't want to ask anything. I just raised my hand to say how wonderful the whole program was, how interesting it was, and how I hope to start doing some of the things on my own. It's been unbelievable. Thank you very, very much.
Annabella, firstly, thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. But since you do have the mic, I want to ask you what one specific thing did you find interesting or of value?
I found the breathing exercises very, very interesting, and I'm going to try and do that. And I'm also going to try and do a lot more keep fit and exercise, more than I've done up till now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for joining. As I mentioned, if you want to ramp up your success to 45%, write it down. If you want to ramp it up to 95%, invite a accountability partner into your life, your husband, kids, Mimi, someone from the group, to help keep you true to your highest aspirations.
Yeah, thank you.
People to contact me.
Okay, super duper. Okay, who else would like to ask a question?
Hello, it's Shirley Klein here. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Shirley.
I remember you when you were in Golders Green. You give my regards to Gail.
Thank you, Shirley.
I remember, and I've got a couple of questions, if I can ask. I'll try and be quick. Number one, do you have to grind the seeds? You mentioned about grinding them. Can't you take them the way they are?
It's a good question, Shirley. Flax seeds are not digested by the body because of the husk, the hull.
Right.
So they are rich in omega-3 essential fatty acids, which I didn't go into today, very good for the brain and gut health. By grinding them, you're breaking the shell and you're making those oils exposable to the skin.
Can't you buy it ready-made? Can't buy them ready-made, ready ground?
You can buy them already ground. However, they should be best kept in the fridge or kept frozen. The oils inside are very sensitive to light and heat, and they can get rancid. So when you buy them, just keep them in the fridge once you open the bag. But yeah,
Does it apply to all three seeds you mentioned?
it's best to do that for this particular benefit. However, there are other benefits if you just use them whole and soak them in teas, etc., to help. There's a certain mucilaginous substance that the flax seeds give off if soaked, and that helps to coat the gut and heal an inflamed gut.
Thank you. Now, how does one go about getting one's hair analyzed?
The hair mineral analysis. The way to do that is just to reach out to send me an email. I'll put that slide back up.
What's the cost of that?
The cost in pounds, I think, is in shekels. In shekels, I think it's 550 shekels. I don't know what that translates into. So I'll just put that up. If you want to just take a screenshot of the email and on WhatsApp number, you can contact the clinic and we can guide you how to do that. Okay, have you got that?
1 minute, support at
Going to write to him and tell him about you.
Gundle.com. Yes, I was going to ask you for your email, how to contact you, Dr. Gundle, so thank you.
Sure. You can just take a picture of this screen as well, then you can always...
I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Thank you. And so if I want to recommend you to somebody who's got a skin problem, I can ask them to get in touch with you this way.
There's what to share.
Email you or whatever.
Yeah, sure. I was working with an Avraham in Manchester. He's 45. He's got a condition called psoriatic arthritis, which is a joint inflammation with psoriasis on his skin. His skin was like a crocodile's back. It was rough and riddled and cracked, and he'd been through many steroid treatments and all sorts of skin treatments. He came to me, and for the first 3 months, I worked on one thing and one thing only: healing his gut. And he said to me, when we're gonna, give me some potions and lotions for my skin. So he knows the functional medicine model. I spoke to him about the leaves, which in his case was his withered leaves, his withered skin. We're treating the root cause of the issue. We treated his gut, and about 2.5, 3 months into the program, his skin started clearing up. After that, we're then able to begin to work on his joint inflammation. So it's not an overnight process, especially if this person has been struggling for a long time, but it's a step-by-step process, monitoring results, course correcting, and empowering a person to make smart choices.
Would you mind saying how much you charge for a session, or you'd rather not do it over the Zoom?
Just send me an email. There's a whole protocol. There's a form to complete. Not everybody is a good fit for my work. So you can send me an
Okay,
email,
thank
happy
you.
to help you. Sure.
Thank you very
Really,
much.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for being
It
here.
was fascinating, fascinating. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else with a question?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, I see Mimi, you asked a question about breathing, yes?
Yes.
So an easy way to bring more breathing into your life is what I call the bookends of your day. Before going to sleep and on waking up. Any other time is bonus. So what that means is,
You okay?
what that means is you have your bedtime routine, and before you go to sleep, you would do 4 slow, deep breaths in. You just simply breathe in the way we did today, breathe in through your nose, and a long breathe out through your mouth. It helps you oxygenate your brain, help your brain go into a deeper sleep REM state. This activates what's called the rest and digest part of your nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you get deeper restorative sleep. And if you wake up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom, come back, don't start engaging your mind with reading and thinking about the next day or worrying. Don't do that. Come back, go back to your breathing, and then go back into deeper sleep so you can wake up feeling refreshed and ready for your new day. So that's the nighttime routine. The morning routine, you wake up, more day, wow, I can breathe. Nice 3-4 deep breaths in, and then don't rush out of bed. Just take your breaths. Some of my patients have got lung diseases. They can't take deep breaths in. Their lungs hurt. Here we are celebrating life with a new breath of fresh air. It's another thing to be grateful to God Baruch Hu for. Starting our day with breathing, ending our day with breathing, and then any other time you're finding yourself getting frustrated or impatient, you're in a line in the bank, in a queue in the bank, or in the post office, or in the car traffic, you can just relax, take some breathing exercises while the person in the car next to you is freaking out. You can just sort of relax through your deep breathing. Okay? Wonderful. Okay.
I mentioned that I followed the Zoe program, which is set up by Professor Phil Spector from University College London. And a lot of what he says is what you're saying about the gut being central to everything. And since I've been trying to increase the number of vegetables and variety of vegetables that I eat, I really sort of took that on board. I really have so much more vitality and energy. It's quite amazing.
I'm so happy to hear.
So it does work.
Yeah, you are ahead of the game, Mimi. I'm so happy you're doing that. That's excellent. Just continue that. So when you get to December 2024, you'll be a new version of yourself.
Hope so.
Any
By
last
the way,
questions?
by the way, Mimi, did you hear his book serialized last 2 weeks on the radio?
Really?
His book was serialized in 10 parts, yes.
Because they have various Zoe podcasts and things. There's so much you sometimes can get an overload, is what you were saying, that you've got to be careful not to overload yourself and just take one thing at a time. And I find that his program is quite an overload sometimes. And then you end up not doing anything.
So I just wanted to say once again, Mimi, thank you very, very much for reaching out to me. And thank you, each one of you, for showing up and participating in a rather unusual webinar where I'm inviting you to sort of be out of your comfort zone a little bit, do some breathing, explore new ideas to advance your health and well-being. Thank you once again. All the very
You've given us so much. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You can see that everybody seems to have benefited.
Thank you.
I think you're going to be hearing from some of us
Thank you so
quite
much.
soon.
Okay, all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you so much, Miss.
To the rest